الله أكبر الله أكبر.
Friends of Islam, this time the Islamic faith is back before you to share Islamic information. I hope it inspires your activities today. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and activate the bell button notifications so you don't miss the latest news from the Islamic Faith channel. Russia is the largest country in the world with an area of about 17 million square kilometers, stretching from Eastern Europe to Northern Asia. The country spans 11 time zones and has a population of about 140 million. In addition to its impressive land area, Russia is also known for its cultural richness and diversity. One important aspect of this diversity is the presence of a significant Muslim community. Islam in the country is the second largest religion after Christianity. By 2025, it is estimated that there will be around 100,000 Muslims in Russia. Islam has been an integral part of life in Russia for centuries and is an important milestone in the country's cultural and historical diversity. This diversity not only enriches the culture, but also strengthens interfaith and inter-citizen relations. The Muslim community in Russia has contributed in various fields, from art, music, literature, to politics and economics. Currently, the Russian government, under the leadership of President Vladimir Putin, has a complex approach to the Muslim community. On the one hand, Islam is recognized as one of the traditional religions of Russia. It's part of Russia's historical heritage. The Russian government has subsidized the construction of mosques and Islamic education and encouraged immigration from former Soviet Union countries with Muslim majorities. Russian President Vladimir Putin has a fairly positive view of the Muslim community in Russia. On several occasions, he has praised the contribution of Muslims in strengthening the unity and resilience of the country. He has also acknowledged that Muslims are a natural and organic part of Russian society and emphasized that their contribution is very important in maintaining unity and harmony in the country. It is no wonder that Muslims in Russia feel safe and comfortable under the leadership of President Vladimir Putin. On several occasions, he even often quotes verses from the Quran in his speeches.
Коран гласит: стремитесь опередить друг друга в добрых делах. Вспомните милость Аллаха. Вы когда-то были врагами, Аллах примирил ваши сердца и сделал вас братьями.
In Russia, Muslims are spread across major cities such as Moscow, St. Petersburg, and Kazan, as well as in various regions within the Russian Federation, such as Karachay-Cherkessia, Kabardino-Balkaria, Bashkortostan, Tatarstan, Ingushetia, Dagestan, and the Chechen Republic. However, the most dominant Muslim population is in Chechnya and Dagestan. In Chechnya itself, the majority of the population is Muslim, with a population of around 1.5 million. Meanwhile, in Dagestan, the Muslim population is also very large. The majority of the population is Sunni Muslims who follow the Hanafi school of thought. Almost 100% of the population in this region is Muslim. Throughout Russia, there are more than 3,000 madrasas spread across various regions, which play an important role in Islamic education and the preservation of Islamic culture in the country. These madrasas play an important role in religious education, from basic teaching to guiding the young generation of Muslims in Russia to memorize the Quran. Not only that, mosques are also spread throughout Russia, both in big cities and in rural areas. The number of mosques in Russia has increased rapidly in recent decades. Currently, there are more than 7,000 mosques throughout the country. This increase reflects the revival of Islam in Russia after the collapse of the Soviet Union. 1. Moscow Cathedral Mosque, located in the Russian capital, Moscow. This mosque can accommodate up to 10,000 worshippers and is one of the largest and most magnificent mosques in the country. Second, Kul Sharif Mosque, located in Kazan, Tatarstan. This mosque has 6 minarets with a height of 55 meters each. Third Prophet Muhammad Mosque, which is the largest mosque in Russia, is located in the city of Shali, Chechnya. This mosque was inaugurated by President Vladimir Putin on August 2, 2019, and can accommodate up to 30,000 worshippers. This mosque has a magnificent design with the same high-quality marble used in the Grand Mosque in Mecca. 4. The Blue Mosque, also known as the Sukarno Mosque, is located in the city of St. Petersburg. This mosque has a close historical relationship with Indonesia, especially with the first president of the Republic of Indonesia, Ir Sukarno. In 1956, during a bilateral visit to Russia, President Sukarno visited the city of St. Petersburg and saw a blue dome building that turned out to be a mosque. At that time, the mosque had been converted into a warehouse by the Soviet Union government. Seeing this, President Sukarno asked the Soviet Union leader to restore the function of this mosque as a place of worship. The request was granted, and since then, the mosque has been known as the Sukarno Mosque by the local community. This mosque was built with blue and turquoise granite and has 3 floors that can accommodate up to 7,000 worshippers. Currently, this mosque is one of the main tourist destinations for the Muslim diaspora and Indonesian tourists visiting St. Petersburg, Russia. These mosques become very active and busy when the holy month of Ramadan arrives. The atmosphere of worship feels even more solemn, with various religious activities held throughout this blessed month. Let's explore the atmosphere of Ramadan to the celebration of Eid al-Fitr in Russia. Dear Khazana viewers, the atmosphere of Ramadan in Russia has its own uniqueness. Although this country is known for its cold climate, Muslims there still carry out the Ramadan fast with great enthusiasm. In Russia, the duration of fasting is quite long, which is more than 18 hours every day. Despite facing this challenge, Muslims still carry out the fast with patience and sincerity, making it a form of piety and devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. During the holy month of Ramadan, mosques in Russia become centers of religious and social activities. Many Muslims come from all over the city to worship and participate in religious activities, such as religious studies and Tadarus al-Quran. In addition, various charitable activities are also carried out, such as providing food for breaking the fast in mosques and collecting donations for orphans and people in need. Ramadan brings changes to the daily lives of Muslims in Russia, where they focus more on spiritual growth, introspection, and increasing worship and alms. Ramadan is a time full of blessings, togetherness, and reflection for Muslims in Russia. During this holy month, various activities are held to strengthen solidarity among fellow Muslims. One of the most popular traditions is the Ramadan Bazaar and Iftar together. Ramadan bazaars in Russia are usually held around large mosques, where people can buy various special foods for breaking the fast, prayer equipment, and other halal products. Ramadan bazaars are a gathering place for the Muslim community, where various types of food, drinks, and prayer necessities are sold. Here people can find Islamic books, prayer equipment, perfumes, and Islamic souvenirs. These bazaars create a festive and togetherness atmosphere before the time to break the fast arrives. One of the most anticipated activities during Ramadan is the Iftar together, or breaking the fast together. Amazingly, Russia holds one of the largest Iftar together events in the world, attended by more than 12,000 Muslims. This tradition is highly anticipated by people in various regions of Russia, creating an atmosphere full of warmth and togetherness. Mosques and Muslim communities in Russia are very busy preparing food for Iftar together. Every mosque always prepares Iftar dishes for the congregation. These dishes are often traditional Russian and Middle Eastern foods, such as soups, rice pilaf, kebabs, and various types of bread. While waiting for the time to break the fast, mosques in Russia organize various religious activities, such as lectures, Islamic studies, and readings of the Quran. These activities create a more solemn and meaningful atmosphere for Muslims who are fasting. After the call to prayer for Maghrib is heard, Muslims break their fast together with the dishes that have been prepared. After that, they continue their worship by praying Isha and Tarawih in congregation. During the holy month of Ramadan, Tarawih prayers are held every night until the end of Ramadan, becoming an important part of increasing spirituality and togetherness. When Ramadan ends, the sound of takbir echoes throughout mosques in Russia to welcome the arrival of Eid al-Fitr. The atmosphere becomes sacred and full of happiness, reminding Muslims of the victory after a month of fasting. On Eid al-Fitr, Muslims gather in large mosques or open fields to perform Eid prayers. This prayer is usually followed by a sermon containing messages about togetherness, kindness, and forgiveness. making Eid al-Fitr a moment full of blessings and happiness for all Muslims in Russia. After celebrating Eid al-Fitr, Muslims visit each other's homes, friends and family to forgive each other. The tradition of halal bihalal is also carried out, where family, friends, and neighbors visit each other to wish each other a happy Eid al-Fitr and share happiness. In various regions, Eid al-Fitr celebrations are even more lively with special banquets, where traditional dishes are served to guests. Foods such as chak-chak from Tatarstan, manti, which are similar to dumplings typical of Central Asia, and plav, rice pilaf, are part of the special dishes enjoyed with family and the Muslim community. In addition, many Muslim organizations and communities in Russia also hold social activities, such as distributing food to the poor, providing assistance to orphans, and various events aimed at strengthening Islamic brotherhood. For Muslims in Russia, Eid al-Fitr is not just a celebration, but also a momentum to strengthen the values of faith, brotherhood, and social concern. With a spirit of togetherness and high tolerance, they continue to maintain harmony in religious life in Russia. Over time, Islam in Russia has grown and become an inseparable part of the country's cultural diversity. Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr are real evidence of how Muslims in Russia continue to maintain Islamic traditions and values, despite being in a diverse environment. Amid the spirit of celebration, the values of togetherness and solidarity remain at the heart of Eid al-Fitr. Many Muslim organizations and charities hold social activities, such as distributing food packages to underprivileged families, providing assistance to orphans, and providing assistance to the elderly. These actions reflect Islamic teachings that emphasize caring for others. Not only in Muslim-majority areas, Muslim communities in minority areas can also feel the joy of Eid al-Fitr. They hold Eid prayers in community halls, Islamic cultural centers, or even in open spaces. This celebration is a moment to strengthen the bonds of brotherhood between fellow Muslims in Russia, regardless of ethnic and cultural differences. With the growth of the Muslim community in Russia, the celebration of Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr is increasingly receiving widespread attention. The Russian government itself recognizes the existence of Muslims as an important part of society. In recent years, various initiatives have been undertaken to support diversity, including the construction of mosques, Islamic study centers, and increasing access to halal products in various cities. Through a spirit of togetherness and tolerance, Muslims in Russia continue to maintain their Islamic identity while still contributing to the country's social and cultural life. Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr are not only a time of worship and celebration, but also a symbol of unity, diversity, and harmony in Russia's multicultural society. The celebration of Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr in Russia is proof that Islam continues to grow and develop peacefully, despite being in an environment with diverse cultural and religious backgrounds. The spirit of togetherness, social concern, and spiritual values upheld during this holy month reflect the strength of Islam as a religion that brings blessings to the entire universe. The growing Muslim community in Russia and the increasing openness to Islam have attracted many people from abroad to convert to Islam and even settle in Muslim villages in Russia. The main factors that encourage them are the increasingly vibrant Islamic atmosphere, the development of religious facilities, and the support of the local Muslim community. In various regions such as Dagestan, Chechnya, Tatarstan, and Bashkortostan, Islamic life is well maintained. Mosques stand majestically, Islamic educational institutions are developing, and Islamic traditions are still very strong. This makes many converts and Muslims from abroad interested in living in these regions, looking for an environment that supports their Islamic life. Many of them are interested in living in Muslim villages in Russia because they want to live in a more religious community, away from the hustle and bustle of big city life. Several villages in Muslim-majority areas offer a simpler lifestyle, close to nature, and based on Islamic values in everyday life. In addition, the Russian government's relatively open policy towards religious freedom in several regions is also an attractive factor. The construction of mosques and Islamic study centers continues to increase, while Islamic education is also getting attention, with more madrasas and universities providing Islamic study programs. This phenomenon shows that Islam is growing in Russia and is becoming an attraction for many people, both from within and outside the country. The Muslim community in Russia not only maintains its identity, but also becomes part of the global attraction for those seeking peace in a life based on Islamic values. The many foreigners who are interested in converting to Islam and want to live in Muslim villages in Russia also show that Islam in the country is increasingly accepted as part of social and cultural life. Regions such as Dagestan, Chechnya, Tatarstan, and Bashkortostan are the main destinations because Islamic values are still very strong there, and the lives of the people are based on Islamic teachings. Many converts from various countries choose to move to Russia because they want to live a more Islamic life. They are attracted by the strong Islamic atmosphere in several regions, where Islamic laws and customs are still maintained. In Dagestan, for example, mosques are always busy with religious studies and congregational prayers, while in Chechnya, the local government strongly supports a life based on Islamic values, including in aspects of education, culture, and social life. Not only that, the Muslim community in Russia is known to be very friendly and open in welcoming newcomers who want to learn and deepen their understanding of Islam. Many mosques and madrasas provide special programs for converts to learn the basics of Islam, Arabic, and fiqh. With these facilities, many foreigners feel comfortable and are more confident in settling there. In addition to the religious aspect, economic factors are also one of the reasons why many foreigners are interested in living in Russian Muslim villages. The cost of living in some of these areas is relatively more affordable compared to big cities such as Moscow or St. Petersburg. The natural and calm environment is also an attraction for those who want to live simply and be closer to Islamic teachings. In fact, in recent years, there has been an international Muslim community that has begun to build Islamic villages in Russia. They work with local residents to create independent Islamic-based villages where daily life is carried out according to Islamic principles, from the education system, economy, to social interaction. This phenomenon proves that Islam in Russia is not only developing among local residents, but is also an attraction for many Muslims from abroad. With the support of the local Muslim community, as well as the continued development of religious infrastructure, Russia is increasingly becoming a destination for those who want to live in a peaceful and harmonious Islamic environment. In addition to the increasing number of outsiders converting to Islam and choosing to settle in Muslim villages in Russia, this phenomenon has also had a positive impact on the development of Islam in the country. The Muslim community is increasingly diverse, with the presence of people from various cultural and ethnic backgrounds enriching Islamic life in Russia. Many of them come not only to seek a more Islamic environment, but also to contribute to the development of the local Muslim community. Some of them open halal businesses, build Islamic schools, and get involved in social and dawah projects. Their presence brings new experiences and insights that further strengthen the Muslim community in Russia. In some regions such as Chechnya and Dagestan, local governments also support the integration of Muslim converts and immigrants by providing Islamic education facilities, housing, and job opportunities. Those who have just converted to Islam can easily adapt and live a life in accordance with Islamic teachings without feeling alienated. In addition, the existence of international Muslim villages in Russia is increasingly attracting international attention. Several Islamic village development projects have been initiated with the aim of creating self-sufficient communities based on Islamic law. In these villages, daily life is regulated by Islamic values, including a halal-based economic system, education that focuses on religious knowledge, and a social environment that upholds Islamic morals and ethics. Not only that, but the development of technology and social media has also helped introduce the Russian Muslim community to the outside world. Many people who previously did not know that Russia has a large and active Muslim community are now interested in learning more. This has led to an increasing number of Muslim tourists coming, either to visit or to consider settling there. Given this trend, the future of Islam in Russia looks increasingly bright. As more and more people convert to Islam and choose to settle in Muslim villages, Islamic life in Russia will continue to grow. So Support from local communities, local governments, and the international Muslim community makes Russia one of the countries with significant growth in Muslim communities, where Islam can coexist with local cultures and traditions in harmony. In Russia, there are several regions known as Muslim villages, especially in Muslim-majority regions, such as Dagestan, Chechnya, Tatarstan, Bashkortostan, and Ingushetia. In these regions, Islam is not only the religion practiced by the majority of the population, but also part of the culture and daily life. Here's to Dagestan, land of thousands of mosques. Dagestan is one of the republics in Russia with the largest Muslim population. Almost 100% of its population is Muslim, the majority of whom are Sunni Hanafi, and a small number are Shafi'i. Dagestan is known for its traditional villages that are very religious, such as Derbent, the oldest city in Russia with a long Islamic history, Makhachkala, the capital of Dagestan, which is a center of Islamic education, Kubachi and Gunib, villages that still maintain Islamic traditions and have many mosques. Islam entered Dagestan in the 7th century through trade and preaching from the Middle East. For centuries, Dagestan has been a center of Islamic learning, with many madrasas, scholars, and mosques that were influential in the Caucasus region. In fact, Dagestan was once the center of Muslim resistance against Russian colonialism in the 19th century, led by Imam Shamil, a respected scholar and military leader. In Dagestan, Islam has a strong influence on people's lives. Some of the characteristics of Muslim life here: congregational prayer in mosques is part of everyday life. Islamic education is developing rapidly, with many madrasas and Islamic universities. Islamic customary law and Sharia are still upheld, especially in matters of marriage, inheritance, and social life. Muslim women in Dagestan generally wear the hijab, and Islamic family values are highly maintained. Islamic traditions, such as the celebration of the Prophet's birthday and the commemoration of Islamic holy days, are very lively. Dagestan is one of the strongest Islamic centers in Russia, with Muslim life still very much intact. Muslim villages here are not only religious, but also have strong Islamic traditions, advanced Islamic education, in a very close-knit community. Dagestan is an attractive place for Muslims who want to live in a strong Islamic environment in Russia. Second, Chechnya, modern Islamic country. Chechnya is one of the most famous Muslim regions in Russia. The city of Grozny, the capital of Chechnya, has the Ahmad Kadyrov Mosque, one of the largest mosques in Russia. Some famous Muslim villages in Chechnya include Shali, home to the Prophet Muhammad Mosque, the largest mosque in Russia; Argun, known for its futuristic mosque called the Mosque of the Heart of Chechnya; Gudermes, the second largest city in Chechnya with a strong Islamic life. Islam began to enter Chechnya in the 7th century through trade and preaching from the Middle East. However, Islam really took root in the 16th century when scholars from Dagestan introduced the Shafi'i school of thought and the teachings of Sufism. Since then, Islam has become the main identity of the Chechen nation. In the 19th century, Chechnya became the center of Muslim resistance against Russian colonialism, led by Imam Shamil, who also fought in Dagestan. Until now, the spirit of Islam is still very strong in Chechnya. Ramadan in Chechnya is a very special moment for the Muslim community there. As one of the most Islamic regions in Russia, Chechnya lives this holy month with full devotion, enthusiasm for worship, and togetherness. Because it is located in southern Russia, Muslims in Chechnya fast for a fairly long duration, around 17 to 18 hours per day. Even so, the community still carries out fasting with patience and sincerity. During Ramadan, mosques in Chechnya become centers of religious activities. Some of the most visited mosques are Ahmad Kadyrov Mosque in Grozny, the largest mosque in Europe; Prophet Muhammad Mosque in Shali; Heart of Chechnya Mosque in Argun. In these mosques, Muslims perform Tarawih prayers in congregation, recite the Quran, and listen to religious lectures every day. Chechnya has a tradition of large-scale communal iftars. Each mosque and Muslim community provides food to break the fast for anyone who wants to join. Typical iftar foods in Chechnya: jijik galnash, meat with flour dough; shurpa, traditional meat soup; hingalsh, Chechen pumpkin bread; fruits and dates as takjil. The government and Islamic organizations in Chechnya also distribute free food to the poor and travelers. The night of Laylat al-Qadr is celebrated with night prayers, dhikr, and collective prayers. Mosques remain crowded until the early hours of the morning, and Chechens use this night to increase their prayers. Ramadan in Chechnya is a time of blessings, togetherness, and worship. With the support of the Islamic community and government, the atmosphere of Ramadan in Chechnya feels very special, making it one of the regions in Russia with the most festive and solemn Ramadan celebrations. 3. Ingushetia, one of the most religious Muslim regions. Ingushetia is one of the smallest Muslim regions in Russia, but it has a high level of religiosity. Almost all of its residents are Sunni Muslims. In Ingushetia, there are many madrasas and Islamic schools that teach the Quran, fiqh, and Sufism. Some students from Ingushetia also continue their Islamic studies in Middle Eastern countries, such as Egypt and Saudi Arabia. The Ingushetian government supports Islamic life by building mosques, Islamic schools, and religious centers. Islam is also the basis of the social and cultural life of the Ingushetian people. In the Muslim villages of Ingushetia, daily life is very Islamic. People perform the 5 daily prayers in the mosque, wear Islamic clothing, and maintain Islamic traditions in their families. During Eid al-Fitr, Ingushetia people gather in large mosques and open fields to perform Eid prayers in congregation. Afterwards, they visit each other to socialize and benefit. Daily life, supported by a religious community and a pro-Islamic government. Islam in Ingushetia continues to grow and become an important part of its people's identity, making it one of the centers of Islam in the North Caucasus. Islam in Russia is not just a religion, but also an important part of the history, culture, and social life of the community. With a Muslim population of more than 25 million, Islam is the second largest religion after Orthodox Christianity. Although Russia is known as a country with a non-Muslim majority, the presence of Islam is very much felt in various regions, especially in the North Caucasus, Chechnya, Dagestan, Ingushetia, Tatarstan, and Bashkortostan. In large cities such as Moscow, St. Petersburg, and Kazan, Muslim communities continue to grow with magnificent mosques and various Islamic centers. The Russian government recognizes Islam as one of the country's traditional religions. Support for the construction of mosques, madrasas, and Islamic education is increasing, despite challenges in some aspects. When Ramadan arrives, Muslims in Russia show extraordinary enthusiasm in carrying out their worship, with congregational Tarawih prayers, breaking the fast together, and various social and charitable activities. The celebration of Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha is also a major moment that strengthens the togetherness of Muslims throughout the country. Islam in Russia continues to develop with a peaceful and harmonious life, becoming an integral part of the country's cultural and historical diversity. With the strengthening of the Muslim community and the increasing awareness of Islamic identity, the future of Islam in Russia looks increasingly bright and promising. Friends of the Islamic faith who are blessed by Allah, I hope this video is useful and see you in our next video.